The Giants lose Week 12 by a score of 19-14. They did cover the spread like I thought they would, but it was a game they should have won, honestly. I mean, the Chicago Bears tried to give us this game on multiple occasions, but the Giants could never take advantage, and that's just what a bad team does. So I'm not surprised by it, honestly. So they had some injuries. I know both tight ends were out with Ingram and Ellison, and then Jabril Peppers got hurt at some point in this game. But you really can't make excuses. I mean, the Giants should have won this game, to be honest with you, but I'm at the point in the year where I just don't care. I mean, I'm in it for the draft position at this point. So they're 2-9 now, and I guess we will dive into this game. So let's start with the offensive side of the ball and how they played on Sunday. So for the offense, Daniel Jones was 21 of 36, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Did lose 1 fumble. I personally don't really blame him for that because he was trying to throw the ball, and Nate Solder once again got beat by Khalil Mack for it felt like the 50th time in the game. So I don't blame Jones for that. It would have happened to any quarterback, I feel like. Saquon Barkley was 17 attempts for 59 yards, 3.5 yards per carry. He had 2 or 3 good runs in this game, but just a lot of runs where he was bottled up in the backfield and some where he had no shot to pick up any yards, where he was just met in the backfield before even getting back to the line of scrimmage. So says a lot about the offensive line. Darius Slayton, you have to like what you see from this kid. So 4 receptions and 67 yards. Had a nice catch in this game with like a curl, broke a couple tackles and gained like an extra 10 yards out of it. So he's looked impressive. He was probably their best receiver all around in this game. And then Golden Tate, 3 for 33, and that big touchdown on like 4th and 18, whatever it was. That was a crazy catch. I don't know how he held on to that ball, but that was really nice by him. So not much on offense today, honestly. Not some no big numbers, but Daniel Jones, couple touchdown throws against the Bears. I don't think Jones looked that bad in this game, honestly. I mean, I'm sure some people want to blame this game on him, but I really don't think he was that bad. He missed some throws, I'll admit it. There were some throws, I'll try to go over them in the film review, where he probably should have made them, and I don't know if his like finger injury with it was like his finger was bleeding like in this area, I don't know, at the webbing, I guess, of his finger. I don't know what you would call it, honestly. I'm not a doctor, but he definitely missed some throws at the end that he usually makes, so I feel like that was impacting him a little bit. So I guess more might come out about that during during the week next week, so we'll see about that. So the negatives, the offensive line I thought was below average. Nate Solder sucked. Well, honestly, the offensive line didn't lose them this game. I think Daniel Jones was sacked 1 time in this game, which is definitely a lot less than I thought it would be. So that's definitely a good thing, but Nate Solder once again just keeps getting beat. I know it's Khalil Mack. I know he's the elite of the elite, but at the same time, I mean, you're getting paid a lot of money, and it's unacceptable, honestly. So the run blocking also was not great. Saquon had nowhere to go, and I understand Saquon's not the guy he was last year. I don't know why. I don't know if it's injury related, or I don't know what the hell's going on, honestly. But at the same time, his offensive line does him no favors, and you have to, give them some criticism as well. So they have to play better, and I'm sure they know it. So Aldrick Rosas, this is a big thing now. I mean, I was trying to give it as much time as possible, but 0 for 2 on field goals today. If he hits his field goals, the Giants probably win this game, but he went 0 for 2 on field goals. I think they were like 38 yards and like 44 yards. I mean, that's probably not accurate, but it was something around there, so it wasn't like these crazy long field goals. Zach Diassi, the long snapper, also had a rough day, so you have to give him some blame as well. He was 2 for 2 on PATs, but he also had a kickoff that went out of bounds as well, so kind of a rough day for Aldrick Rosas, to be honest with you. So we'll see what they do with the kicker position, but I don't know what else to do, honestly. I mean, good kickers aren't just out there on the street. I mean, it's hard to find good kickers, and that's why I, respect and appreciate guys like Justin Tucker so much, because it's hard to do it, year in and year out. It's definitely hard to be a consistent kicker in the NFL. So, I mean, definitely have to give credit to guys like that. Jones should have had an interception on the first drive of the game, so they had a couple mistakes on the first drive, but one of them was just a dropped interception, so Jones got away with one there, but the first drive definitely could have been a lot worse, so we're kind of lucky that he dropped it, but still, he has no interceptions to his name. That definitely looks nice in this game. There was the Saquon dropped 3rd and 3 pass, which might have been on the first drive. I think it was the second drive, though. But basically, it was just a swing pass, and Saquon had a lot of space in front of him and flat out dropped the ball. I think that's the second time it's happened this year. I feel like it happened in the Tampa Bay game as well, where it should have been a touchdown. But, you just hate to see it, because the guy, we give him excuses with the ankle injury, but what does him catching a ball in his chest have to do with his ankle injury? It's just like, you have to catch that. There's no excuses, and right there is a situation where you could have converted a first down, but now you're punting instead. So that sucks. There was a Golden Tate 3rd and 7 drop pass. I wasn't sure if it was a drop exactly. He had to like reach across his body to get it, but even the announcer said a receiver like Golden Tate, you have a reputation of making tough catches. He probably should have caught that ball, but just another instance of a drop on 3rd down. Then there was that pitch play on 3rd and 1 that got blown up, and I blame the fans for that one. I don't blame Pat Shurmur for it, because I see on Twitter all the time, like, oh, why don't they give Saquon the ball on the outside? They always try to run him up the middle, all that kind of stuff. So, all right, they give him a pitch play. They gave Saquon like 3 or 4 pitch plays in this game, and all of them got blown up. So maybe that's why they don't do it. Maybe they don't trust their tackles to get to the outside and seal the blocks and stuff, or their tight ends. You know what I mean? So that's probably why they don't do it, honestly. I don't think Pat Shurmur's never thought, like, oh, maybe I should run Saquon outside more. Like, there's probably a reason why he doesn't do it, and that's probably why right there. So that's it for the offense, basically. It wasn't too bad. I mean, 14 points is not terrible against a defense like this. They should have had 20, but, honestly, they made a lot of mistakes in this game, so it is what it is. And, I think Daniel Jones definitely looked all right in this game. It wasn't too bad. At least he didn't turn the ball over 4 times in this one, so that's definitely encouraging. But, in the coming weeks, they definitely have to look better on offense. So now we will get into the defense and some general notes about the Giants. So the positives for the defense, Marcus Golden continues to look great. He had one big stop on the 3rd and 1 running attempt with David Montgomery, I think it was. He had a big sack on a 3rd down in this game as well. So I really want to see him back next year. I think he's on a 1-year deal currently, so we'll see if they bring him back. That would be a nice move by Gettleman, obviously, so we'll see what he does in the offseason. The Alec Ogletree red zone interception, that ball shouldn't have been thrown, obviously, but I don't know what it is with Ogletree against the Bears. I mean, he had like 2 interceptions against them last year and a touchdown. This year has an interception as well. He wasn't great in this game outside of that, but at least made a big play in the red zone for us. Julian Love had his first career interception. I saw him play a lot more in this game, so that was nice to see. I talked about it in the preview video, and I was hoping we'd see him play more, so it looks like he got a good amount of snaps in this game. I don't know what the percentages were exactly, but I'll let you guys know next video what it was exactly. So, he almost had 2 interceptions, though. There was one that was tipped up in the air. He had to go, pretty much across the field to try and get it. He dove. I don't think he got his hands under it in time, so he almost had 2, but then he had basically a gift from Mitch Trubisky. That was a terrible throw in double coverage. I don't know what that throw was, but luckily he caught it. So Marcus Golden, I talked about the 3rd and 1 run stop as well. So the negatives on defense, the pass rush is just not there at times. I mean, there was that really bad play I think of. It was like a 3rd down and 9 or a 3rd and 10 maybe. The Bears were on their own 2-yard line, I think it was, and Mitch Trubisky's just in his own end zone, basically, just back scanning, and there's just no one rushing him at all. He's just standing there for 5 seconds and eventually just takes off and runs for a 1st down. So that was terrible to see, and there was no pass rush. I mean, it was Lorenzo Carter, Marcus Golden, Leonard Williams, and Dexter Lawrence were the 4 guys rushing on that play, and no one can get to him. And it's not like the Bears' offensive line is that good, honestly. I went over their offensive line. I don't think they were any better than 25th in the league. It was pretty low, so I don't think their offensive line's that great, honestly, so that's not good to see. And speaking of Leonard Williams, he was invisible in this game. I think he might have made 1 play in this game, honestly. He was not good, so I tried to defend the trade when it happened. I tried to give Gettleman the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you're trading a high 3rd round pick, but the downside of this was that Leonard Williams is going to have all the leverage in negotiations, because Leonard Williams knows that if he leaves, it's going to make Gettleman look really bad, and I'm sure Gettleman wants to retain him in any way possible. So if the Giants overpay for Leonard Williams this offseason, don't be shocked by it. I personally don't want to pay him more than $10 million a year. I don't think he's that type of player. He does not make that big of an impact, in my opinion. He's a nice guy to have on a great defense. I've explained that before, but on a defense like this where you're just looking to build up, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's that big of a piece for a defense like this. I mean, the Giants need a star pass rusher, which is why everyone wants Chase Young. And maybe if you put Leonard Williams next to Chase Young, it makes Leonard Williams a whole lot better. But we don't know that, and we don't even know if we're getting Chase Young yet. So Leonard Williams definitely needs to play better down the stretch, and he has all the leverage right now, so that's definitely not a good thing. And if Gettleman is GM this offseason, which probably will be the outcome, then he might pay him a lot, and that's not good for us. So we'll see what happens in the offseason with Leonard Williams. And the last negative, I'm sure there's more negatives, this is all I could think of though. One was Corey Ballantyne, who filled in for Grant Haley a couple weeks ago. I think in the Dallas game he took over for him, and since then, I mean, he's been up and down, I would say, but in this game, specifically in the 3rd quarter, if you go back and watch the highlights on YouTube of this game, pay attention to the third quarter. They targeted this guy on every single big play the Bears had in their passing offense. It was ugly. So Valentine was, against, for some reason, Allen Robinson on like a few plays, Anthony Miller on a few plays as well. And they torched him. It was rough to see, honestly. I mean, he looked just lost out there, and it was rough. Grant Haley would not be much better, so I can't say the Giants made the wrong personnel move. It's a talent issue, which is what I say all the time, and that's why I think Pat Shurmur takes too much heat, because the talent on this team sucks, but no one seems to realize that, unfortunately. So Valentine had a rough day. He is a 6th-round rookie or whatever he is, so I'm not going to be too hard on the guy, but that was a very rough day for him. So some general notes: the Giants do fall to 2-9. They had no wins in October and November. Someone pointed it out on Twitter, so I forget who said it, but I went back and looked at the schedule just to reassure, and it is true. They have not won a game in October or November. Very embarrassing, to be honest. So they'll most likely be 2-11. They are 2-9 right now, but they get Green Bay at home next week, and then I think they're at Philly the week after that. Green Bay just got their asses handed to them in San Francisco, but obviously that's, the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Giants are much different teams right now. And the Eagles have their problems. I saw Carson Wentz is hurt right now. He's going for an MRI or something like that, so we'll see if he plays. But even if he doesn't play, I don't even know if we're going to win that game, so who cares? So there's a good chance they go 2-11, and at this point, as I said, I really just don't care. I'd rather just go 2-14 and hopefully, both Gettleman and Shurmur get fired, and we can start fresh once again. Because I don't trust this. I don't trust this current group to win a Super Bowl in the future, honestly, if I'm being honest. So the Redskins win was definitely big for draft position. So they had that late win against the Lions, and now they have the same record as the Giants at 2-9. So that was definitely big for us in our draft position. And then I also wanted to ask, when does Dave Gettleman's plan start to trend upwards? So all offseason, he was preaching about this plan he had when he didn't bring back Landon Collins and then traded Odell Beckham, Olivier Vernon. Talked about this plan he had, and I wanted to buy in. Like, there was a point in August where I was like starting to buy in because Daniel Jones was playing very well in the preseason, and I was excited about it. I was like, all right, like maybe this guy actually knows what he's talking about, and I'm just an idiot. And I still am an idiot. I'm not gonna lie. I've been wrong about things before. Obviously, I don't think too highly of myself, but what Gettleman's been doing with this team is confusing to me. A lot of teams, the good teams, have an identity, and we don't have that. I mean, I'm watching the 49ers right now. They just won 37-8. They have an identity of what they wanted to do. They drafted defensive lineman after defensive lineman after defensive lineman. But what Gettleman did, decides to take a running back, which I can never agree with the second overall pick. I mean, if I was a GM in football, I could never see myself taking a running back in the top 10 of a draft. I just cannot fathom doing that. But that's what he did. Even though there were many holes to fill on this team, that's what he did. And then he takes a quarterback the next year, which is fine. But at the same time, he did tell us he was going to fix the offensive line. Well, I don't see it, honestly. I mean, you draft yourself that great running back, but you have no offensive line. And he's had 2 years to fix it now. So, I mean, like, how much time do you need? I understand rebuilds take long. I don't need people in the comments to explain to me how rebuilds work. I get it. But at what point do we start to see a positive trend here? Because, honestly, the Giants have been getting worse and worse, I feel like. I can understand if the Giants went from, like, last year's 5-11 to a 6-10 or a 7-9 team this year that was looking competitive in a lot of games, I would say, like, all right, like, we can give Gettleman another year. That's fine. But, like, now they're just getting embarrassed. And this is a game they should have won today, obviously. I mean, I talked about it before. The Bears made so many mistakes in this game, and they basically were trying to give this game to the Giants, but they still couldn't win it. And that's ugly. So I don't know what to do at this point. I mean, there's still 5 games left, and we'll see how they finish out, obviously. But if they go 2-14, 3-13, I think every option's on the table. I think Pat Shurmur's basically gone at this point. I don't see a way he comes back unless they rattle off like 3 or 4 wins in the end here. But it's a shame because I don't think Shurmur is as bad as people make him out to be. He's not a good coach, I'll admit that. But at the same time, I don't think any coach can win with this team. So, I mean, I kind of feel bad for him. He is a scapegoat in a way, but in some ways he deserves it because he hasn't been a great coach, but neither has the GM and neither has John Mara. Like, all these guys need to be held accountable, and of course we just point at Shurmur, and some people think that if we replace Shurmur with Mike McCarthy, that it'll solve all the problems. And I just need to say it because people are annoying me with this. Mike McCarthy sucks. Jason Garrett sucks too. So if those guys coach the Giants next year, then expect the same results. That's all I have to say. So I'm tired of hearing the Mike McCarthy's a proven winner type of thing. Like, no, he's not. Mike McCarthy underachieved for the rosters he had and all that kind of stuff. And Jason Garrett, has not made a NFC Championship appearance in 10 years as a coach in Dallas. So if you want to call those guys proven and accomplished, and by all means, go ahead. But I don't consider those guys good coaches, to be honest, and that's just my opinion. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this game and what you want in the future. If you want future videos of certain things like some head coaching candidates or GM candidates, I'll do draft stuff probably in the next couple months. I mean, I told you guys a lot. I'm not big on college football. What I do is there's always nice people out there that post full game clips of these prospects on YouTube, and I just go back and watch them, and it gives me a good feel for what these guys are about. So that's usually what I do, and I'm probably going to start doing that once the season's over. But if you guys have any ideas for some Giants-related videos you want done in the future, then let me know, and we'll see if we can make them happen. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I will talk to you for the Green Bay Packer preview. Actually, no, we have the film review video, so that'll be the next Giants thing I'll probably do. So I'll talk to you guys next time, and thank you for watching.